All right, there we go. I finally figured out where the recording button was today. It is April 28th. Off to a running start here. So, how is everyone?
Doing good.
All right, hanging in there, huh? I just looked at your jacket yesterday, Roger.
My jacket.
Yeah.
What jacket?
It's in one of the closets on the boat.
Oh my God, that's right. I forgot.
I was moving some stuff around. I'm like, whose jacket is this? And then I remembered it was yours.
I have to come back and fetch that. Michelle and I'll have to come back.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime.
Hopefully she'll get seasick this time.
There you go. We'll give her a shot at it.
Good morning, John. This is Richard. I have a quick question.
Okay, go for it.
Thank you for the follow-up email on the website that I'm looking at here. I realize that if you're really going to do people justice, you really need to get them through the ACT program so that when you rebuild a website, you're rebuilding a website that actually has some meaning.
Yes. And that's actually a good opportunity for you to sell some coaching services. Like Jim does that all the time. He'll get a new client, he'll go through the whole thing of like their business, and that's incredibly beneficial to anybody, because you're gonna come across a lot of people that want a website. I mean, that's just the first thing they think. Okay, I got to have a website. Yeah, where do I get a website? How can you help me? And you really can't unless you figure out what they need. So you are right on the money with that.
Well, absolutely, John. And before the internet existed, I had a company called Profitability Consulting, and the worst that I did for anybody was 15% growth per month ongoing. Yeah. I mean, it was so many people have businesses that are up and running despite themselves.
Yes.
And if you actually get in there and say, let me show you what somebody who knows about marketing and sales can do, and you start adjusting some of those knobs just a little bit, all of a sudden it looks like you walk on water. So it's wonderful.
Exactly. I mean, even going back to like one of our first lessons, which is the most profitable segment, just helping them segment their market can make a massive difference in their business. Jim, go ahead. You had your hand up.
My question though, John, on all this was that the real estate site, you said that normally you integrate the MLS stuff onto their site. They do this
Correct.
The other way around. They have access to a site that's really good. This means pointlomahomesforsale.com, and it's the site that integrates all the MLS stuff, and they use that site. So when you come onto their site and do all their stuff, if you want to see what's on the MLS, you click off of their site. And the question is that going to be a problem, or does that not matter once they've already landed on the site? Where does the authority go at that point?
Well, it doesn't really help them long term. The longer visitors are on your site, the better off you are. So if Google sees you sending people off of your site, let's say they hit your site for 1 or 2 pages, and then you send them off to another site and they spend, hours there and dig through a bunch of pages, what Google is likely to do is just bypass the middleman and send them right there. So if you're talking about search, you want to be careful sending traffic off of your site. So that's why, a lot of the websites that we do for real estate specifically, they want to put the MLS on their site, keep people on their site. So it's a widget, like a plugin. There's a couple of different companies that offer WordPress plugins that make it really simple. Now, that said, when you plug that plugin in, you still have to configure it, because as a realtor, you might not want to list like national listings. You might want to just list the ones in your neighborhood. You might not want to help people shop for other realtors. So there's, again, it's a business thing. You got to figure out what's right for your client. But
I-
keeping
I-
them on your site is definitely beneficial. Absolutely.
that was the impetus for the question.
Mhm.
Is it worth, what do those widgets run? How do those things work? Could you give me just, the Cliff Notes version of what those things work, or is that something we need
Sure.
to have an offline conversation about?
No, it's fine. Typically, the plugins or the widgets are generally free, but you have to have the MLS service. So I don't really know offhand what the MLS services cost because I've never really subscribed. The clients always have that, and then we just get the widgets from them, or the plugins rather.
Okay, well, I'll check into that. Thank you. The interesting thing is because we're doing SEO boost and it's all SEO related, the really interesting thing was I started doing some searches just because I'm in recovery here from a procedure I had. So I don't really want to work hard, but I just can't put this stuff down.
I'm gonna have to use that as an excuse.
But the interesting thing is, it says I did a number of searches in a number of different ways. What are the top SEO companies in the United States? What are the big guys? Who are the big guys? And I am absolutely dumbfounded at the fact that probably 75% of them don't even have keywords on their home pages for their own business. There's no keyword field. They're doing no optimization. And these are the best on the planet. I'm going, boy, is that fertile material for SEO, the big lie.
Well, Richard, that is really funny that you say that because I've never really optimized my own site. And I got this a lot from my resellers. They're like, we have to optimize our own sites. And I'm like, look, here's the deal. I do shit that I get paid for. No one is paying me to optimize my site, right? They're hiring me to optimize their sites.
Yeah, your keyword includes universities, John. Come on.
So, I mean, I've given access, to some of my outsourcers for my site. So who knows what they have done to me as far as optimization, but I don't really care, so that is really not something that I'm focused on or never have been, really, honestly.
Yeah, you were not a good source for my keyword search.
But I have had that like for years, and it hasn't caused me enough pain to do anything about it.
Thank you, John.
I'll ask the question, and I've had a couple of clients bring that to me, and this actually got me more credibility than you can imagine. They said, how do we trust you? You're not optimizing your own site. and I brought it right back to them. I said, tell me something. If you were paying me to optimize your site, would you want me focused on optimizing my own? Or would you want me spending my time and effort working for you? And they always agree, yes, I would rather have you doing your effort on me. Because they don't care about you. They only care about themselves. So you can spin that in your favor all day long. And I've done that on several occasions. And it always rights the wrong, in their eyes. If it's a wrong, you can right it real easily with that conversation.
Well, to be fair, John, though, you've built your SEO business not based on your ability to get rankings for your site on Google. You did it all in-house with your existing photo clients and all that sort of stuff. So that wasn't your avenue. So
that's correct.
It's kind of a head scratcher. Like, there's no way we can duplicate what you did because we don't have a history that's built up large clients that we then just switch over. So it's a different process.
It's only partially true. You might not have the base of clients to start with, but if you look at my client list from there forward was mostly referrals. Like, for instance, I had a lot of manufacturing clients in the photo industry. And whenever I got one of those on board with the SEO or the web development, the whole enchilada, I would always go back at the high point when they were the most excited about what I had done for them. And usually that was when they got their first client. When they got their first client off of what I had done for them, that's like a high point. That's when you want to go in and you want to say, hey, I know this is really awesome, isn't it? Reaffirm that the relationship is very beneficial for them, and say, based on this, who do you know that you think I could help? Because now you're putting them in a position of you can help their friends. And that kind of positions them in a power position. Businessmen are all about that. They're all about the power position. They're all about the significance. If they can get the ear of their friends, that means a lot to them. So when they hold the guru guy in their pocket, that elevates their status. So take advantage of that. That is a human nature thing. That is like a force of nature that you can use. You can have that in your pocket and pull it out and use it to your benefit.
Hey, buddy, you owe me a favor.
That's where I got a lot of my business in the beginning, was that way. The other way was by paying for referrals. So I paid for a lot of my clients. I didn't do it the normal way like most people are used to, like going and paying for Google ads, but I still paid for them. Like, if you go back, like let's step back before the internet, because I always talk about what works in the real world will work online. And when I was first starting up my photography business, where I got all of those clients, I didn't have those originally. And I had put, a lot of my money, I spent a lot of my money from the previous business into buying equipment to run that business, the photo studio, all the stuff. And I basically, blew my wad. I was down to where I was not in good financial shape. And I needed to support that. I needed to support my studio. I needed to make money. And I didn't really have clients in front of me. So I went in, and I know some of you have heard this story, but I went into the biggest photo lab in Orange County, where all the big commercial accounts, they had all of them. And they had about, half a dozen to a dozen girls working behind the counter. And all of these girls had their own favorite clients that worked with them. Like, they had their clientele. So when people would come in, they would go to that girl and she was their rep. So here I've got all of these girls that have who I want in their pockets. And I know that they weren't making, it was a decent job, but they weren't making like really good money. They were just counter girls, for lack of a better word. They weren't paid salespeople. They weren't making commissions. They were just paid by the hour to do their thing. And they were happy. They're happy people doing happy things. So I went in, and this was like a Hail Mary on my part at the time, because I was down to, like, I'm not going to say I was broke, but I didn't have a lot of money, and I had like $100 in my pocket, and that was it. That was all I had. And I strategically cased the joint like I was going to rob it. And I waited till the opportune moment. And I picked the most boisterous of those girls. And I waited until she was not busy and all the other girls were kind of idle. And I called her up to the counter. And for me to call her up to the counter, she wasn't the one that worked with me. It was kind of odd. So all the other girls, they turned their heads and thought, oh, what's he want with her? And I handed her visibly across the counter that $100 bill. and all those other girls saw it. And I said in a fairly loud voice, thank you so much for sending me that client. I've always told you guys I would pay you every time you send me a client. Well, here you go. Many more of these to come in your future. And my freaking phone rang off the hook for the next weeks. And I made damn sure that I went in there, and every time I paid one of them, I made sure that the others saw it. That's where I got all those customers.
Oh, you clever, clever man. That's wonderful.
And I'm telling you, that works today. I do it. I still do it with webinars. I pay a lot of people a lot of money to put me in front of people. That's just my traffic source. That's what I've found, that's my ideal client. That's my ideal way to do business. And it has worked for me for, those photo days go back to 1985. That's a lot of years for something to work. And like I say, when you find systems that work in your business, you replicate them. And that's all I've done. The advent of the internet, I just continued that replication. So that's the whole affiliate program. Hey, introduce me to your friends. I will make you money. just plug me in. That's all you have to do. And I will hand you $100 bills.
Wow. That's one of the most valuable 3 minutes I've seen in the 11 years I've been on this call. Thank you, John.
That's where they came from. And again, the manufacturers, here's something about that world. And I've always told my resellers, that's my favorite type of client is manufacturers. It's not local businesses. And I know there's a lot of money in local business, but dealing with that level of clientele is kind of a pain in the ass. The deal that you've got going there is their business isn't big. They don't have advertising budgets. And a lot of times you're going to be the first one that they're paying advertising dollars to. And they're, for lack of a better word, they're going to be cutting their teeth on you. I don't want to be a teething ring, right? That's not the way I want to spend my life, being teethed on. So those manufacturers, it's a different level of business. And I have found personally that I like the ones that are doing $2 to $10 million in annual revenue, because they're up to the point where they're doing well. They're not struggling. They're not hustling to make ends meet. Things are good. They want to grow, and they've got a budget to do it. So they're not going to be biting at my heels for every time they make a payment saying, where's my ROI? They don't even know what the hell that means. If they get, a couple clients a year off of what you do for them, they're very happy. And like I said, when they're happy, when they get that first client, that's the best time for you to go have that conversation. Hey, who do you know that I could help? Now that you've proved it's proof of case, or proof of what do they call it? Proof of concept. Thank you. You've got your proof of concept right in their hand, right in front of them. That's the best time for you to ask for that. And these guys, it's like they live in a good old boys world. And even the women, it's just like a good old boys world. They have all these people that they work with, and they're not competitors. It's like anything. I did a lesson on a cruise ship one time. I took a bunch of my resellers on a cruise, and we had a meeting in the meeting room, and they just didn't get it. They were saying the manufacturers of what? And they weren't open to the idea that there's millions of manufacturers in this country making all kinds of stuff. And I said, I don't care where you are, any point in your day, you can take wherever you are. I don't care where it is. from the point where your 2 feet are on the floor, if you do a 360 and just look around what is around you in eyesight, you're going to probably find 100 manufacturers that made all that shit. And for every one of them, like if there's a desk sitting in front of me, right? There's a wood manufacturer. There's a guy that manufactures the polyurethane shiny surface that's on it. There's a guy that makes the screws. There's a guy that makes the drawer slides. Those are all individual manufacturers. And the guy that does the desks, he's the guy that just puts all that stuff together, right? All you have to do is find one of them, and they're all intertwined. They don't compete with one another. They all want to help one another because they're in a good old boys club. So if you find one and you make them happy, you've got the beginnings, you've just plucked the first chunk of gold out of the mine. Don't stop digging. There's more nuggets right behind that one. So I am not aggressive anymore, but I once was, and that's how I dug the gold out of the mine. I picked up the shovel and I started swinging that bastard. So I pose out that I'm lazy as shit, and I am, and I've earned it. But there was a point in time where I swung that shovel hard, and that's how I did it.
Wow, John, that beautiful dissertation. Thank you so much.
So, but seriously, back to what works in the real world. That worked then, it works now. A lot of times when you find stuff that works, it's timeless. You know, we haven't changed as human beings in a very long time. You know, the psychology, our drivers, all that stuff, it's all the same. You know, we might live in a different looking world. You know, we dress differently. We have different styles, but all the stuff under the hood, it hasn't really changed all that much.
So, John.
Yeah, go ahead, Randy.
So if I was to peel back that onion and make it real simple, what you're really saying is, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you have a group of people in front of you, or if you have a one-on-one, it doesn't matter what it is. If you let them know, hey, you have a referral program. If you refer a friend and they do business with me, you'll get that $100 bill immediately upon them doing business with me.
Correct. But sometimes that you're absolutely right. But you missed a key component there.
Okay.
And does anybody know? In that story that I told about the $100 bill, what was the key component?
It was public.
That's one.
You chose the most boisterous one.
That's two. But the big one, it was a lie. She didn't send me a client. I seeded the game. I stacked the odds in my favor. I didn't require it to actually happen before I showed proof of concept to the ones that I wanted to do it.
Well, but that's a little different what you're saying. Wait.
You left that little piece out, John, but if that's the case, she didn't squawk about taking the $100 even though she didn't send you a client, or
she didn't even ask me who the client was. She didn't care. She just wanted the $100 bill.
Right. Well, that's okay. But you were a bad boy. You said you lied. I'm not going to do that.
I did. I flat out lied, and I don't know what I would have said if she asked me who it was. I just greased under a lucky star that she didn't. She was just over thrilled to get the $100 bill. She didn't care.
I think what I'll do is I'll just give Roger $100 and then say that, Roger, you got to give me that back, but at least you can testify that I gave you that $100, right?
Yeah.
At least we're not lying, Roger.
Like here is a perfect example of where you could replicate what I did in that lab.
Okay.
If let's say you were at Craig's mastermind, and he's got, he's in LA where he actually gets people to come, and he's got 100 people in the room. And he always gives everybody a chance to stand up and say something. Doesn't matter, what it is. Everybody gets a chance in his mastermind to be seen, right? So when your chance is up to be seen, you got all eyes on you. There's your chance to give somebody $100 and thank them for a referral, whether it happened or not. And you would have, just like I did, you would have people crawling over themselves to get the next $100 bill. I guarantee it. It's timeless. It will work. But saying it and seeing it is two entirely different things. You're just getting up and say, yeah, I'll give you guys referral fees if you send somebody my way.
Got it.
That is going to go off them like water off a duck. But when they see that $100 bill go to someone else's hands, that's a different experience you've just created.
Yeah.
Now,
John, I have a problem getting your PayPal to send that $100 to you. Can you fix that right now?
I mean, it is like throwing blood in the water. You're going to create a feeding frenzy.
I'm going to remember that for my small live event.
Like when I do Kartra, when somebody asks me about affiliate programs, what do? I open up my Kartra account so you can see how much I'm paying people. It's not just talking about it. You actually see how much money I'm flowing out every month. That is a serious driver. And tell me if there's not a difference between me just saying it and you seeing it in my account.
Yeah, but in that case, John, because I mean, when I saw it, I didn't really focus on that. So I'm wondering if people really are focusing on that more so than what you were saying. Do it when you're live and people actually physically see you doing it, because I never really focused on that, nor did I focus on your crypto account either. It wasn't the money, it was how was it working?
Yeah.
So
But I have had a number of people that after they see me talk about affiliate, I can't tell you how many emails I've got asking, have you really paid Todd Spears over $100,000? I'm like, yeah, I absolutely have. So it's a very different thing when they see the money change hands. So, and again, that goes back to what works in the real world. If you see something that works mediocre and you see something that works phenomenal, and there's only a slight difference, and that's all we're talking about. If I would have just said, hey, thanks for sending me that customer, I'll send you $100, after they pay, that would not have gotten me the same result. It wouldn't have, I guarantee it. Them actually seeing that $100 bill go from my paws to hers was what made the difference. And
John?
making sure that they all saw it was a key component too.
Next time, do it in gold bullion, John.
You'd have to bring the microscope. Hey, John, I think one of the things about the money isn't just the fact, oh, there's cash, right? Yes, that gets your attention, but that it's real. Your product is sellable. You get people paid. Everybody has an affiliate program for everything, right? For the most part. So it feels like, oh, what one am I really going to focus on trying to resell?
Yeah.
That creates that mental impression.
You see, like, and it's not just me, you see big companies doing this. A lot of them will have annual award ceremonies where, all the people go to some exotic location or Hawaii or whatever, and they give awards away, and they make sure that they use that as their social media, their advertising, seeing people getting these big jumbo, life-size checks. Seeing is believing. And you guys, I don't know how many of you, but some of you have seen my $100,000 gold bar, right? Have any of you guys seen that?
Show it. Show it to us.
I've given 3 of those away now so far. Like when I first started the ACT program, I put that up as a bounty. I said the first person that makes $100,000 using the ACT program is going to win this gold bar. And it's a replica of a $100,000 bill. And most people don't even know that that was a real thing, that even existed. But there was in currency a $100,000 bill. It had Woodrow Wilson on it. And I think they were taken out of circulation in the early 70s or something like that. But this is a replica, and it's 4 ounces of solid silver, and then it's gold plated. But it's a replica of that $100,000 bill. And every once in a while, I have an alert on eBay that when one of them comes available on eBay, I buy it. I don't care how much it costs, I buy it. And at one time I had like, I don't know, 5 or 6 of these things. And I've still got a few. I've given 3 away. 3 of them I've physically handed over to people that have made $100,000 using the ACT program. So what does that do? It does a couple of things for me. It's proof that the ACT program works. And it's also a serious incentive for somebody to want to own that gold bar. You know, it's not like these things are like readily available on every street corner. You can't just walk into the gold shop and buy $100,000 gold bar. You know, so that it's a serious prize for someone to own that. So, and it's along the same.
What did you pay for it?
What's that?
What did you pay for it?
I usually pay between $200 and $500 for them.
Nice.
You know, and they look like they are worth a hell of a lot more than that.
Hey man, even 500's a lot. You know, I mean, I'd value that all day long.
Yeah, but the actual value of it is 4 ounces of silver, which I don't know what silver is going for right now, probably $25 an ounce. So that's $100 worth of actual silver value. And then you've got the gold plating on it, which, you know, I don't know, maybe another $100. So the actual raw cost value of the thing might be $300 right now. And I can pick them up for around that to $300 to $500 on eBay when they're available. There's not a lot of them.
So after I win it, I can put it up for sale on eBay and you'll buy it back from me. Is what you're saying.
I absolutely, I will absolutely buy it back all day long.
I thought Tim already had one.
Because to me, let's say I pay $500 for that gold bar. That is going to sell the ACT program to the tune of a whole hell of a lot more than $500. Just the fact that someone could sign up and get into that contest to win that thing is going to get me more than $500 in new members, just right out of the gate. So it's not about, for me, what the value of it is in the value of the thing. It's about what the thing does. What it does for me is it drives my business. Just like handing that $100 bill across the counter. It wasn't the value of the $100 bill. It was what it did for me. I could have taken that same $100 bill and I could have gone and bought $100 worth of groceries. And that would have been a 1-to-1 value. I would have got $100 value out of that $100 bill. But what did I get? I turned that $100 bill into multiple millions of dollars. So that bill to me was worth millions of dollars. That was the value in that bill. So, you know, it's what you get out of it, what it does for you. You know, a pile of lumber is worth whatever the cost of the wood is, but you build a mansion out of it. And now what's that wood worth?
So did you put that $100 bill inside anything, or did you make sure they could see
I put it inside her 5 fingers is what I put it inside of.
You didn't have a fancy box or anything?
Oh, hell no. I wanted that thing seen. I didn't want to hide it. I wrapped it in her pretty little fingers. That is just too funny.
Well, I'm going to Bank of America or Wells Fargo or something later. I'm gonna tell them I want a very brand new
Oh yeah.
$100 bill,
Yep.
uncrinkled,
Yep.
and
Get yourself
I'm gonna
get
put it
yourself
in
a crispy one. Make sure you snap it too. I mean, seriously, it's worth a lot. If you use it right, what it can do for you. That's the whole thing. When you're selling something, it's not what it is. Nobody will pay you a lot for what it is. They'll pay you a lot for what it does. Right?
The auction of the old violin is a great story in just that regard, John.
Yeah. It's like the pen, you know. How do you sell a pen or a pencil for $100? Right? How do you do that? It's the right situation will allow you to sell that pen for $100. You know, if you've got a guy in a bar that has $1 million idea, and you got a guy sitting right across from him that's got the $1 million to invest, but he can't convey it without a visual, that pencil or pen now on a napkin is worth $100 to him. It's the value in any given situation of what something's worth. Now, if you walked up to him and said, hey, you know, I have this pen that's, you know, you could probably buy it on the open market for, you know, 50 cents, but we're not there. And this guy's about to walk with the $1 million that you could have. I got this thing for $100 on sale right now. He's going to hand you the $100 because you just conveyed the value.
Hey, John, could we do a reverse real quick?
Sure.
I don't like talking about SEO because I don't know crap about it, but could we go back to the website issue as it relates to SEO?
Sure.
And so in my humble case, I have a wonderful, I believe it's a nice website that your guys did for me. And I can type in Randy Powell in Google or Randy Powell Speaks, and of course it's there. But if I'm not typing that in and I'm typing something else like speaker, success speaker, whatever they're typing, to find people like me, how do I get you to help me figure that mess out?
Okay.
I mean,
So-
is it because if it's, it almost sounded like you said it wasn't worth it.
No. It's SEO. Being found is very worth it. It absolutely is. There's no doubt about it. Now, it's a whole SEO is so tightly related to the ACT program. If you really look under the hood, you will see that just like in business, if you get the wrong customer, it can cost you more than you'll make. SEO is no different. I tell everybody SEO is like a magnifying glass or traffic, any kind of traffic. I don't care if it's SEO or paid traffic or whatever. It's like a magnifying glass. It's going to magnify whatever is there. If you have a good sales process that will make orders, it's going to magnify that. If you have problems, guess what? It's going to magnify them. So understanding who your client is, understanding who you want, why you want them, why they want you. If you understand all that, traffic now is going to magnify the building of that relationship, which is what you want. But you have to understand who it is that you want so you understand what they're typing in. And if they're typing things in. Like in the beginning, here's why I wasn't focused on SEO in the beginning, because it wasn't a thing. Nobody knew about it. Nobody was searching for it. And I can't fix that. I can't make people search for something just because you think that's what they want. I can only take advantage of what they are searching for, if they're searching for it. So when I started this game, it wasn't right for me. So I didn't do it. But here's what I did do. I went to those customers that I built websites for. And I said, here's the deal. Here's what you have. Because most of them didn't understand what a website was at the time when I built it for them. I said, you have an electronic brochure here. They all knew what a brochure was in their business, and they knew how they used them to make money. And I said, you know, you and I both know that a brochure in a box under your desk is not going to do you any good. It's when you take the brochure out of the box and you place it in the hands of the right person. That's when money transacts. I said, I can do that for you online. I can take your website and I can put it in the right hands. I didn't know what to call it. There was no term of SEO. That's how I described it. And they wanted that. They wanted that bad, and they had a budget that fell under advertising. So now I could tap into their ad budgets. So getting your website in the right hands is SEO. That's what they call it these days. But the key word there is in the right hands. Just getting ranked for random terms to get a bunch of traffic on your site is not what you want. That doesn't really help you. It may help you spin up a snowball in Google, because the more people Google sees on your site, the more it values you. But you got to get the right people onto your site if you want to make money. So the importance of going through the ACT program and figuring out who that even is and what's important to them. And then you go into the C, that's the A in ACT, is the analysis. Then, and only then, do you move into the C, which is the creation. Now you're going to build a mousetrap. That's what all of your collateral, all your marketing material, all of your elevator speech, your positioning, your branding, all of that stuff. If it's not based on the analysis of who you're selling to, why they want what you've got, what it's going to do for them, all of that stuff, it's going to be hard. I'm not saying you won't make it, because there's people that make it on crazy stuff, but it's not going to be an easy path. It's like you're going to be going down a road that wasn't graded yet. It's going to be bumpy. You know, it's going to be a very bumpy ride.
All right, so that's the simple answer to the SEO and why you would do the analyses to figure out what they're actually searching for, if they're searching at all.
Correct.
So the second part of that is, in my particular case, and I think Roger brought this up, I just haven't had a chance to answer him, is I started out, my website is randypowellspeaks.com, because when I first started, it was all about speaking from the platform.
Mm-hmm.
Then the coaching part of that came out of the speaking. So then I started developing the coaching business.
Okay.
So the new brand is sitting behind me, as we all see, Envision Success, and it's going to end up being Envision Success Coaching, the Envision Success Mastermind, Envision Success, blah, blah, blah. So what Roger was saying was, well, when I look at behind you, I would think it's envisionsuccess.com. Now, I have the URL for several different variations of Envision Success, but I haven't gone that route yet. Everything still is under randypowellspeaks.com. So now the question is, there's speaking and coaching, and those are the two legs of my business. I've been told stay with Randy Powell Speaks and then bring Envision Success over into that. But the other question is, like Roger was kind of visualizing, should I also have a website that is dedicated specifically to Envision Success and its products and services, and separate the two from speaking and coaching completely?
Gotcha.
And I'm totally confused, and I'm glad
Okay.
Roger asked.
Yeah, no, that's actually a good point. So whenever, and it's, you know, it has a lot to do with branding, for one, and having an overarching brand. Like Randy Powell Speaks is not an overarching brand.
No.
It's a product. It's a piece of what you do.
Mhm.
The Envision Success I could see as an umbrella brand
Mhm.
with things all falling under that.
Mhm.
Do you can you get envisionsuccess.com?
I've got several. I don't know if that was one that was open at the time. It doesn't go anywhere if you just put in envisionsuccess.com. So I have several variations around that.
Okay, if you can get
So I'd have to go back
Envision
to GoDaddy and
yeah, if you can get envisionsuccess.com, that would be your clear winner. That is what you would, build the whole umbrella underneath. Now back to the website, you don't
Roger
want
said
to,
it's only
it's what?
It's for sale. It's one of those where domain purchasers have bought up everything that sounds
I think
good
Roger
and they
said
make it
it's
for
only-
sale.
Gotcha. Okay.
The hostage takers.
If
Yeah.
it's not that much, you might try and buy it.
Michelle and I just bought a
15,000.
domain.
Yeah. If it's like whatever it costs, like they might say, oh yeah, we want $10,000 for it. What you do is you contact them and you say, hey, I have a client I'm working for that I think this would be a good domain for them to run their business under, but they don't have that kind of budget. What can you do for me? Would you be willing to sell it for, $500? And they might come back and say, well, no, we can't do that. We'll do it for $5,000 and then let them stew on it for a while because they don't have a lot of buyers for these things. Let them stew on it and come back and say, hey, we're about to make a decision. And if I can't get it for 500, I'm going to shift gears and just dump it, forget it. And that's the way you would position that negotiation. And they might come back and say, hey, well, would you give us 750 or 1,000 or something? And then you can decide and just buy it, at that. I did that for Allco Sport Fishing. They wanted 25,000 for it. And I think I got it for $350 because I lowballed the crap out of them. And we played the game for like 6 months, but they finally wound up letting it go for $350, which is still a deal. I mean, they paid $10 for it, so. But I would say as far as, you would not want to split out and have multiple websites if you don't need it. You would then go to envisionsuccess.com would be the main website. Randy Powell Speaks would be a product of that. That would be a tab. We can take your existing Randy Powell Speaks website and just move it under that tab. We don't have to change it at all. We can just move it under that would be a section of the envisionsuccess.com website. So that would be your your thing. And then as far as the domain Randy Powell Speaks, all you do is you just forward it to that sub page on the envisionsuccess.com website. And then all of your power, all of your focus goes into that domain. And then Google starts valuing that domain. So that would help you. While we're on the thing of SEO, because I didn't really address the whole how would I help you or how would you be found for those particular keywords, that is SEO in itself. And when we have that conversation, it's important that you understand what Google's driving force is. Why would they want to put you up? Why would they want to put you at the top of their rank? That's SEO in itself, and that's what you have to comply with. And at the end of the day, it's kind of like a math game. They've got all these different criteria for points, and whoever at the end of the day has the most points is going to win. But understanding the reasoning behind the point system is really important. Google is like they're indexing every piece of content on the planet. That's their goal. And their goal is to get eyeballs on their property so they can sell ads. And think of it as it's an electronic newspaper or book or whatever. And the more people that have eyeballs on it, the bigger their circulation is, the more their ad dollars are. So they do not want to lose market share. That means they have to provide good results, or their base is going to go read a different magazine. They're going to go to a different search engine if they don't get good results. Their circulation is going to suffer, and so will their ad dollars. They will protect that kingdom at all costs. Like when you're going to SEO, you're trying to manipulate that. You're going to war with a Goliath. So that's the game. That's the understanding of why they do why they protect it, why they don't want just anybody at the top. They want good quality content. They want happy users. So if you get in alignment with them and you give them what they want, that's how you will be rewarded with top rankings. They will send you a flood of your best customers. That's the reward for playing the game right. That also means that creating the right content is a big part of what your responsibility is to SEO your own site. Understanding what's important to your customers. So when they get there, they have an enjoyable experience. They stay, they come back, they send their friends, right? Most people will just throw garbage up on a website. They'll throw whatever is at their fingertips to their webmaster and say, build me a site out of this pile of crap.
Lots of AI written content.
But if you really figure out, what is it that what I can provide to my ideal customer to really help them, really engage them, really make a difference for them. What are they interested in? What should they be interested in that they may not know about? That way, when you get them onto the site for what they are looking for, you can educate them into what they might need, what they might want. Because how many times have you been encountered by a salesperson that showed you something you didn't know existed and you walked out the door with it 10 minutes later? Happy as could be.
Yeah.
That's the job of the website. Show people what they don't know. Show them what they can't live without.
So I must have done okay then, because I went to GoDaddy and I have envisionsuccess.com. I also have Envision Success Coach and Envision Success Podcast.
Okay. If you have envisionsuccess.com, you own that. There's your brand.
You have it without the hyphen. It's yours.
Envisionsuccess.com. Exactly.
That's odd because it shows it for sale, and I don't think you're trying to sell it.
I'm not.
Sometimes GoDaddy will do that if you just have them parked.
It's parked. It renews. It auto renews. So I have it on auto renew, so they can't.
Yeah. If you have domains parked at GoDaddy, they're automatically trying to sell them for you.
Yeah, I didn't know it's worth $15,000 though.
I've actually had clients that sold their domains. In fact, I sold one myself. I had electricboats.com. I bought it for my brother. He was going to go into the electric boat business. So I bought it. And then when he bombed out of that and decided not to go, somebody offered me $6,500 for it and I sold it. So I paid like $30 for it and stood on it for 3 years. So $100 to 6,500. It was a pretty good deal. Jim, you had your hand up there?
Yeah, slightly different topic. I'm wondering I have several books on Amazon, and I'm wondering about Marketing Assistant and how it works with Amazon.
Okay.
The first little question, one is how it works, and then two is, do you send people to your actual book page, and then where do you put in the contact information page?
Got it.
Like you would with Google.
I think on the Amazon setup, it's slightly different.
Okay.
So on the Amazon setup, I don't think there is a contact page. But what you want is the page, the actual page that people would view. Like if you go in there and you run a search and do a real long tail search to actually find the URL of the page you want to rank, use that URL and then put the keywords that you want to rank for. And it works the same as it does in Google. It's going to send those search signals, send those clicks. The difference in here is, well, it's actually not really a difference. In any case, when you're sending AI signals to manipulate Google, the initial result that you will get is going to be temporary. Like they're going to see the activity and they're going to say, oh, you know, this, we should try this. So they'll put it up. When they put it up, it's going to actually get you real traffic. So if you get it up in the top and they start sending real traffic, and the real traffic doesn't have the same good experience as the bot, or not the bot, but the AI signals, you're going to kind of shoot yourself in the foot. And with Amazon, part of their algorithm is when they test someone, they want to see that it makes sales. So when real users start going to your Amazon book page, if they don't buy the product and follow through with all the other signals in Amazon, it can be a temporary thing. It might not hold it up there and just, you know, continuously keep it up there like it does, you know, in the search engines typically. So just make sure that your titles, your descriptions are spectacular, your prices, you know, right on the money, all that stuff, so that when they do push it up, real people will follow through and buy it. And then follow up on them, make sure they give you reviews and all that stuff. And that will make you stick to the top in Amazon.
Gotcha. And then do you have any suggestions for doing keyword research on Amazon?
There's actually, I don't remember the names of them offhand, but I've seen promos on keyword research tools specifically for Amazon, and also for competitors. Same thing with YouTube as well. There's tools that will find you different keywords, different people that have ranking sites, so you can analyze them, look at their title tags and all that stuff. But that might be something to do as well, as just run some searches in there, see who comes up, and take a look at their title tags, see what keywords they're using.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just competitive analysis is what it is.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. YouTube.
John, what you're talking about there, correct me if I'm wrong, but what I got from what you said is I'm still working on this SEO, the big lie. And one of the big lies is that you can use a lot of AI generated content and get a really good ranking site out of it. My thought is that's gotta be hooey, because if it's just generic content, what is it there to really hold somebody? You really need to have quality content, quality being defined as something that is unique to your, well, let's just say ACT program specifications for your program. You can't just throw crap up there, because even if site pop gets you there for the, like you said, the short term, it's like Amazon. When the real users show up, if they don't respond like SEO Boost does, it's going to drop back out of the rankings, and then you'll never get ranked.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. This is a really cool way to think about it. Is it's like you having a promoter. And let's say you're a prize fighter, or you want to be, you know, you're a wannabe prize fighter, and you get a phenomenal promoter. He can get you in the ring, but he's not going to make sure you don't get knocked out. That's all you. So the SEO is going to get you up. It's going to put you in the ring, but now it's your turn to fight, to stay there. And AI content is actually very powerful depending on what tools you're using. There are some really good tools out there right now that will give you really solid AI content based on what Google is feeling is really important. Now, you're absolutely right. AI content doesn't always read correctly. But what it does do is it finds the hot topics really, really good. It finds the keyword selection really, really good. It finds the mix of words, like how many times a particular word shows up in content. It does all that stuff really, really good. So if you've ever written content for a website, you know the hardest thing is facing the blank page. It's like, where do you start? It's like you're looking at this mountain of work and you're like, I got better shit to do. And you're going to find every possible way to not do it, you know? And that's game over. You just lost. You didn't have a chance. So if you use the AI to fill those pages, now you've got not only the backbone, you've got some meat on the fish. All you have to do is go in and manicure them, make them pretty. And you should be doing this anyway. I don't care what content you've got. You should always be looking at your content, trying to sharpen your sword, thinking about, what do I know? If you go through life and you don't learn something every day, you're sleeping, and if you're awake, you're sleepwalking. You should be learning something every day. Every minute of every day, you're taking in information. If you're not learning from it, you're sleepwalking. So every time you go back and look at your content, you're looking at it with fresh eyes of what you learned yesterday. And what I'm talking about specifically is your clients. What do they want? What do they need? Why do they want it? What's it going to do for them? If you're interacting with clients on a daily basis, you're learning that stuff or you're ignoring it. And the more you learn, the more effective you can be, the more you can convert. So take that base knowledge and just do that. Just take what you know and just edit it. Make it read right, make it important, make it useful. And I guarantee you it's a hell of a lot easier than facing a blank page and trying to start that mountain from scratch. So, and again, it's like any other tool. Use it the way it's meant to be used and it will be effective. Yeah. That makes sense, hopefully.
Very saged words, John. Thank you.
If only I wanted to work hard, I could do a lot with this shit. I'm afraid my days of working hard are over. I just like to fish now.
You like to catch fish, not fish.
That's right. That's a good interpretation of that. I've never liked fishing. I hate fishing. I like catching. And you know why? It's the significance. It's right back to that primary driver. Nobody wants to come home and answer the question, what'd you catch today? Oh, a sunburn, a cold. That's all you can do. You can just make fun of it. I want to come back and say, yeah, we loaded the boat again. It's significance, It's not like I'm hungry and I need these fish to eat. It's significance. That's it. Pure and simple. I like to eat them, but that's not the primary driver. Because anybody that has fished, anybody that knows the sport of fishing, damn good and well, you can go buy that fish cheaper than you can catch it.
It's a lot of hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
You have to enjoy the downtime between when something actually happens.
Yeah. No, there's a certain amount of adventure to the whole fishing game too, which is kind of cool. But honestly, fishing, just sitting there with a rod in the water, waiting for something to come along, that is not for me. I would rather go take a nap. Much better use of my time. All right. What else we got to cover here? I had an interesting opportunity last week. I got approached by a local golf shop, and they had a spot, and I mean, this is their sales pitch anyway, but they had a spot open for forget what they call them, but when you go onto the golf course, there's a 9-hole course that is very popular at this local golf place. And they have these cards, it's 9 sheets, and it basically shows the course for each hole, and it gives the golfer, all the stats on the hole, everything that they need to know to play this hole of golf. And then there's 3 advertisers right below each one of those. So you got 9 flip pages and 9 pages where there's 3 advertisers. So they had a spot open on one of those pages, and it was like $400 for the whole year. So basically every golfer that runs that course over the next year is going to see that advertisement on that page. So I bought one of those for $400, and they said, yeah, we'll take care of everything. And I'm like, all right, well, that sounds like it's for me. If you take care of everything, I just pay you $400. So they sent me the proof, and it was like, this is the difference in advertising between just somebody that's copying and pasting and somebody that's thinking. The thing that they sent me, the advertisement that they sent me, their proposed ad, I was like, oh, hell no. I'm like, I don't think so. There was no call to action. Let me see if I can find it here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about.
They hadn't gone through the ACT program, John.
No, clearly not. Okay, let me see. Okay, so I found it. Let me share the screen. And it's not that it was bad either. This is what they sent me. It's this art proof for direct fairways. So this was their proposed ad, had my logo, Internet Dominators, and they copied all the stuff right off my site. So it wasn't that it's wrong. It's not that, you know, no misinterpretation of what I do here or anything. But they've got, you know, the phone number, they've got the website with a www in it, which
Welcome to the 90s, Mr. Bonks.
yeah, exactly. And then they've got my street address. I'm like, nobody's going to need my street address out of that. We're burning valuable real estate here. And there's no call to action. You know, it's just a bunch of random statements. So what I did this like in 10 minutes in the middle of the night. I just changed it up, and I put turn your website into a cash machine, guaranteed to get you more traffic, leads, and sales, just $97 per month if you qualify. And then I bought a vanity domain to send them right to a landing page, qualify 97. So I'm tying the 97 into the qualify and created a domain name out of it. So there's a call to action, go to qualify97.com, which will land them on that landing page, which will give them access to my whole website if they want to go do it. But this landing page will be just for this offer. So one thing I know about golfers from the demographic is there's a good number of them that are business owners. Not all of them, but there's a good number of them that are business owners. And if they're a business owner, I'm going to assume they've got a website. And because I know 99.9% of people have never made a dime with their websites, what am I focused on here? What's the promise? Turn your website into a cash machine. Why would they not want that? And then I've got another buzzword here, guaranteed. This is guaranteed to get you more traffic, leads, and sales, which that's what they want. They actually don't want traffic. They want leads, and really why they want those, because they want the sales. So this is really the boil down to what they actually want. This is the stuff that's going to lead them to that. And I'm going to guarantee it. But then I got a takeaway here, add an intrigue. First of all, intrigues, how the hell is he going to do this? And do I qualify for it? So it's like curiosity here is going to be the winner to get them to go to qualify97.com, because there's not enough information. I have baited the living shit out of them and not given them enough information to decipher it. So if they want to sleep at night to know what this is, they're going to have to go to qualify97.com. So see,
Hey, John, can you go to Qualified 97 and show us how you hook them?
I haven't even built the page yet. I just bought the domain to make sure I could get it. I had to get the artwork in so they could print the ad. So I've got about a week to put that together. So I can show it to you next week. So I will put this together this week, and
That would be good.
I'll just do I'll probably do a WordPress site with a Kartra button in it to capture the lead.
Linda has a good idea in the chat for you.
So, okay, I didn't see it here. A 10 handicap. Yeah, that was the thing. The other night I was like, I don't know golf terms. Last time I hit a golf ball was with a baseball bat, and that was about the only time I've ever hit one. Let's see. Okay. I don't see Linda's in there.
I don't think it was mine. I think it was Roger that.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right. But anyway, if you're going to run an ad, especially if you're going to spend money on it, make sure there's a call to action. Make sure that this is not as far as big ideas go, this is not a great example of a big idea, but it's got some of the components. The only thing it's really missing, anybody know what it's missing from a big idea?
A unique mechanism.
Your promise.
It's got the promise. The promise is right there. Linda hit it right on the head. It's what's the unique mechanism? How are you going to do this? So what I did was I didn't really have enough room to fit it all in. So I dropped the unique mechanism. I focused more on the promise and what it was going to do for them. And then I left them with that intrigue factor that if they want to know how this works, they're going to have to click the button. They're going to have to go there. That's where I'll introduce the unique mechanism. And the only reason it's not there is I just flat didn't have enough room. This thing is like business card size. So this is at 536%. If we take this down to 100%, it's like that size.
Wow.
Oh.
So I literally had very little to work with here.
So John, I just want to mention, if you blow it back up, I really love having the URL as the domain all caps and then the .com lowercase. That way you memorize in your mind the domain, and you just understand that you're relieved of the burden of memorizing some weird extension because it's what you would expect.
Yeah, exactly.
From a type setting standpoint, I would want to kern that period in under the 7 with Photoshop. That dangling period drives me crazy. And put a space between go to. I get that it's nice and tight as a go to, but
yeah, and I probably would have done that stuff if I had more time, but I saw the proof, and it was like I had other stuff I had to do, and I literally had about 10 minutes to fix it before it was due for running the print.
Yeah, it's fine.
And I'm like, oh shit, this is not going to print like this. It's like, stop the press.
How does a professional advertising company not put a call to action and just do an informational ad?
That's it. They just said, we'll take the information off your site. We'll handle it all for you. And lazy me thought, oh, awesome. That sounds great. And then I saw it and I'm like, oh no, I know better than that. And 99% of the people would have saw the ad and said, oh, awesome. Yeah, that's what I do. Perfect. Run it.
Right.
But they don't know the ACT program.
They don't know Johnny Limbo.
So it's just like, I gotta take a better shot at it than what
Seriously. If not for your students, you had a
yeah. Do it for your country, if nothing else.
yes. Oh my.
So, but anyway, so that was kind of a little lesson learned this week. They're going to put in the minimum effort, and most people are going to go for it.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else this week before we wrap it up?
If you
Yeah,
got
just-
us here on the end, John, is there anything to the strategy of getting exact match domains and for specific keywords that I want to? I mean, I'm looking at places that have got high volumes of traffic, low competition, and strangely enough, a high cost per click. And it would seem to me that it'd be very easy to get the exact match domain for the keywords that I'm looking for, and then have that URL immediately forwarded to the page on my website. Is that a viable strategy?
Yeah, absolutely. Exact match domains are great for that. They're not so great. I wouldn't recommend you building your entire business website around an exact match. But for what you're talking about, to direct it to a certain page, absolutely. That's a good thing to do.
Yeah, for $400 a year worth of domains, it's over 1,083 visitors based on the estimated visitors for a page one listing, and like $800 a day if you're going to go after the keywords. Or I mean, $800 per impression for each of the keywords got one impression. So that sounds to me a whole lot better than seeing how I can't advertise on Google Ads anyway.
Yeah, no, you could absolutely do that. That would be a decent strategy. So,
Can you say
Super.
more about it, John? I don't understand what you guys are.
well, it's the same thing of having multiple domain names. It's just you want to pick one for your main website, and I wouldn't recommend exact match domain unless it matched your company brand name. I always recommend that you build your business under your company brand. So your website should be that, a category of one. That's his umbrella brand. Like mine's Internet Dominators. My website, internetdominators.com. But I've got all these little ones like Qualify 97. I don't want to send somebody to my main website and have them try and find my deal, right? I want them to go boom right there. So qualify97.com, it's an intrigue URL. It's tied to the guarantee of $97, and they have to qualify to get it. So there's an intrigue of why they would want to go there. It's just a common word, so it's easy to remember. Qualify 97. They're not going to go, what was that? I have to qualify and it costs. What was that domain? They're going to remember it. It's easy. So that's all it was. Jeff, you had your hand up there.
Just I had an opportunity to do a presentation yesterday for an educational service that serves the pool and spa industry.
Oh, cool.
And they, I wasn't allowed to sell. Their rules were, since it was educational, not to sell. So I put a unique button, a unique offer and button on my speaker homepage, drove them to that, and got responses. Could be, by design, we didn't have enough time to cover all of the information. So the offer was, look, if you want a summary of the key points, plus we did, make sure there was a lot of interaction. So plus we'll add in a summary of the question and answer that we did along the way.
Yeah.
Just go to there and hit the button.
Exactly. That's a great way to do it. You don't have to make a sale on the first encounter. What you have to do is you have to start the relationship. So that's perfect. Sending them to your website to get something for free. You're right on the money there. Here's another thing. This goes back to one of Frank Kern's core concept is he calls it stacking the cool. You're already cool because you showed up to give them free information. Now you're cooler because you're giving them something free after the fact. But once you give them that free thing, he has this concept called stacking the cool. It's like, how cool would it be if you gave them more than you promised? So what I tend to do, like if I give them a info sheet or whatever the free lead magnet is, it's usually a PDF or a download. I think that a great idea to stack the cool is to give them also a free video. Say, hey, I did a free video explaining what's in here, so you really get it. And you can really use this and focus on what they're going to get out of it and all that. And say, if you'd like that, the button below, just click it and watch the video. That way you don't have to read it. You're doing them a big favor. You're making it easy. Nobody wants to read stuff. And in that video, the other thing it does, not only are you stacking the cool, giving them more than you promised, you're also getting a second chance to be face to face with them. Whenever they get to hear you speak and see your face at the same time, you're building a relationship. You're creating trust. They're getting to know you without you getting to know them. That's automating your time and setting you free. Because if you have to do that when you're physically face to face, that's taking your time. Here, you're only taking the time one time to do the video, and the replication of you creating that relationship is now on autopilot. You can create that relationship with thousands of people for the expenditure of 10 minutes of your time. That's how you get yourself free. That's how you create freedom in your business, is automating and replicating what works in the real world. Leverage the internet to deliver that experience. That's where
I was also excited about finally driving qualified leads to my list in Kartra.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They've had it's just been amazing.
It's
I
exciting.
added in CAPTCHA and a bunch of other stuff, and I was still getting spammed like crazy. So it was just nice to go, okay, here we go. This is something I can work with.
Yeah, no, that's exciting. When you see leads coming into your system, and then ultimately when you see them going through the process and you see sales coming in, it's addicting. That's when you're going to go back and you're going to really start fueling the fire. You get a couple of sales through that automated system, and you're going to really get energized about doing more. And your efforts, I guarantee you, your efforts are going to get really focused. You're not going to be just trying to show up anywhere to speak. You're going to be trying to show up in the right place to speak, to drive the right customers into that funnel, because it works. So I see a ton of people doing a lot of podcasts and stuff, and they don't have a call to action. It's about the, the credibility, which is great. Building credibility is great, but why not build yourself some sales at the same time? The more you can engineer this stuff, the more you can drive them into a funnel that works. Then the podcasts are awesome. Get on all of them that you can. Find the ones that have your audience in them, and that is your sales vehicle. That's just like SEO. It's traffic. Podcasts are traffic. And traffic, remember what I said about traffic in the beginning of this call. It's like a magnifier. If you have problems, it's going to magnify them. So that's a reason not to do them at that given point in time. But if you have a sales process, if you have a funnel that makes sales, hell yeah, you want to magnify that. So engineer your podcast speeches to drive people into that funnel. And how do you do that? It's big idea, grab their attention. It's create demand and desire, tell them how it works. It's eliminate objections, figure out, what their beliefs are, reverse them in your favor, and then give them an offer. The offer could be free. It's the free thing. Go to my site, sign up, get the free thing. That could be as simple as your offer. But engineer that stuff.
So I could repurpose my freemium from yesterday's webinar to become a freemium for the podcast and trigger a sales funnel off of that.
Absolutely. The podcast could actually be your vehicle to create demand and desire. Maybe your freemium is your big idea. It's figure out the process and drive them through it as fast as you can. But the big thing, you got to figure out what works. What is your process? The more you know about the person that you're trying to sell to, or, get through the process, or let's not say sell to, let's say the person that you can help. That's a better framing. The person that you can help, do your damnedest to help them, right? Do your damnedest to help them buy your shit. So cool stuff.
Hey, John, I don't want to hold up the group, but I have a quick question that pertains to something you said a few moments ago.
Sure.
We're talking about what domain is your main domain. And we're talking about don't make the domain the keyword domain unless that's your brand. But my question is, let's say you have a product and you have an affiliate program for it. So the idea is your affiliates will have their own lead pages or landing pages selling your product, or directing, either a full sales blurb or a small sales blurb directing them to you. Couldn't you be your own affiliate, like go and buy domains that match the lookup keywords people will type in, and then put a landing page for your own product as if you're an affiliate?
Yeah, that's exactly what Richard was saying. Buying exact match domains to drive traffic. You can absolutely do that. I just wouldn't build all those websites, just have them be landing pages under your main brand.
So I'm sorry I missed that nuance, Richard. So the idea of driving traffic, is it, what do you put on those domains? Do you just forward?
Just
like
forward
you do a
them.
redirect? So you
Absolutely.
don't put a landing page.
You forward them to a landing page. So, but you can have all those landing pages be under your main company umbrella domain name. Because for Google, the more people they see land under that umbrella of that domain, the more they're going to pay attention to it.
John, let me ask then, though, if somebody searches for a specific term, let's say litter box, right, for their cat, and your brand is smells good litter, but you own litterbox.com. Yes, you could redirect them to smells good litter, but smells good litter won't show up in Google searches when they type in that keyword because there's nothing on the page. Would you want to build out something on the page?
So you would want to have smellsgoodlitter.com/litterbox. And you would want to have great content about that litter box on that page. And then you would want to forward that domain to that page. That would be your ideal scenario.
Nobody will click on that domain, though, because it just won't show up in the Google search results because it has no content.
Correct. Your domain will wind up showing up, your page, your landing page, which is the goal. The goal is to get your company brand ranking for all kinds of keywords.
Indeed, if people went to the litterbox.com and were forwarded to smells good litter /litterbox, then yes, Google would say, hey, that's that, smells good litter /litterbox is awesome because people are going to it. But if litterbox.com has no content and so it doesn't show up in the ranking, then nobody will click on it to be forwarded and Google won't see that traffic drive.
Well, the thing is they'll be typing in litterbox into Google. The fact that there's a litterbox.com, it has a bit of a ranking factor just right out of the gate. So if that is connected to litterbox.com, it could actually show up and they could click on it. They would just get forwarded to your landing page under smells good litter.
So in my mind, I'm accepting what you're saying. I just want to throw this one caveat out and get your reaction. And my final thought is you could take part of your landing page, duplicate it on litterbox.com, and then have a learn more that goes to smells good litter /litterbox.
You could absolutely do that. That is a different tactic and another effective SEO strategy. But what it does, it brings into play, you're going to have multiple websites to maintain. You're going to have a lot more work. And the fact that that site, if it's just a one-page site, is ultimately going to look pretty thin to Google unless you really build it and work on building it out, which it just creates a whole bigger job for the same thing. But you could absolutely do it. In fact, years back, that was a really good strategy because of link building. You know, having the links coming in were at that point in time more advantageous than having it all under one hood. But fast forwarding to today, you're better to have all of your traffic under one lid. It's a much more powerful indicator to Google that you have quality.
Yeah, I actually did that, John, where I had over 200 domains at one point. And boy, talk about the amount of heavy lifting you got to do to, I mean, there were plugins where you could do one adjustment and it would do it across all the domains and all, but boy, it's so much better to have one major, in my case, a category of one, my different silos, and then exact match domains for the keywords that I want to go to pages, set up a page, a category of one / my keyword. And on that page, there's everything they'd ever want to know about that keyword. And it's really an authority page, and it's on my website and directs all that traffic. So now all I got to do is manage one page. It's so much easier.
Yeah. Because when you do a permanent redirect for a URL to another page, that's called a 301 redirect. And one of the things that Google looks at is whatever authority that original thing had, when you 301 redirect it, you're pushing that authority through to the new location of that content. So you're actually taking the best of both worlds. You're not missing out on the authority of having it to begin with. You're pushing the authority through to the new location, which is under your brand, which increases the value of all of the pages under your umbrella. So you're getting more bang for your buck out of it. And you're also making your life a lot more simple. So there's in my viewpoint, there is no downside to doing it that way, only upside.
Make it simple, easy, as Tim would say.
Yeah. That is it.
Simple, easy, and fun.
Yeah, if it's not fun, let's just not do it at all.
Exactly. I'm all in on. I'm a Limbacher devotee now. Simple, easy, fun.
Yeah.
Trademark, and I had the trademark simple, easy, and fun. Maybe I should do that.
You do, Timmy?
I have the simple, easy trademark, but I don't have fun.
Oh,
Hey.
throw some fun on top.
That's it.
Now I have to go get a whole other trademark. Man, I gotta go through
Simple,
another.
easy, miserable. But yeah, that's probably not a good tagline.
You just need an equal sign. Simple, easy equals fun.
There you go.
There, that's good too.
I don't think an equal sign works in a URL though, John, does it?
No, doesn't pan out in a URL.
I was just shocked, John, at how many I can't get simple, easy marketing. I noticed, I just went and checked that the price for that domain finally came down to like 1,700. It was thousands.
Yeah.
It's like way down now because no one simple, easy marketing trademark. The term's trademark. So I'm like waiting for it to come way down to buy it.
I don't know where they get the values of these things.
They make them up.
No, but I mean, like I have domain names. Like I was just looking, I can buy, I can buy Simple Easy websites. I have Simple Easy automation. I have Simple Easy events. Like everything around it, I have.
Yeah.
Simple Easy marketing. They want it. Well, I might pay 1,700 for it, but when it was like in the 20,000s, I'm like, I'm not paying that.
Yeah. Well, one of our members, he'll probably be back on next week. Gregory, the one that used to do the intros, the crazy intros.
Yeah.
He had a great domain that he had bought for his company name. And it's a perfect match for his company name, but it was the same name as a very popular watch brand. And the watch brand gave him a lot of money to buy it. And then we just bought a new domain for him that was actually more specific to his actual brand. And it worked out great for him on both sides. He got a big pile of money for the selling the name, and then we just bought another one that was exactly the same, just with an extension on it, and he put him right back in business. So it was awesome.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
I would love to have Gillette.com, but like, the first thing I got with Gillette, they came after me real quick, and I'm like, I don't want to play that battle.
Yeah.
No.
Well, this one, he had owned this one for a long time, so it wasn't any
I
doubt
remember that. What
it
was the name?
his deal. It was Invicta.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So pretty cool. So we just we changed it to what his actual thing was, is invictatrading.com.
Mm-hmm.
It was a win-win all the way around the boat for him.
Yeah. Where is good old Gregory?
He's been in Europe.
Oh, wow.
So I think he'll be back. Should be back with us next week.
Oh. All right.
All right. Anything else before we wrap it on up for today? Cool. I think we covered some good ground today.
One of the best sessions ever, John. It's really great. I've got lots of notes here, and I'm glad I recorded this one like I usually do.
Yeah, every time I think, how are they going to get any better? They keep getting better. I don't know. There's got to be a bottom to the pit somewhere, right?
No.
No.
Why it's called a black hole.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll see if I can stay on pace and keep making them better for you guys, but it's all about your questions, really. So keep them coming.
Cool. Bye, everyone.
Super, John. Thank you so much.
All right,
Bye,
guys. Have a great
guys. Good
week,
to see
and
y'all.
talk to you next week.
All right. See you in the club.